Okay, so impromptu, kind of barely planned, halfway planned video. Because
This is extremely planned.
I just did that Sonic is not an alien video. And if you're watching this and you haven't seen that,
Just go to the trending tab.
just go watch that because I like how it came out. And there was actually a part in that I cut. That was gonna be in there, and then in editing I was like, this isn't relevant, so I cut it out. But apparently I was foolish to do that because only like 10 people have seen that fucking video, and yet already I have 50,000 comments from from people being like, the two worlds. And I was like, God damn it. Because in that fucking video, that stupid bitch mentioned it, and I was gonna have a reaction where I was like, I'm gonna have to do a video on this one of these days, aren't I? Because all of you are stupid.
I'm not talking about the movie. I'm not talking about Mobius. I'm not talking about the two worlds thing that Izuka talks about with all the modern games.
But I cut that out, and I shouldn't have, apparently, because that's the reaction I've gotten, is people going like, well, maybe on one world Sonic is an alien, because Sonic takes place in two worlds. And I'm like, God fucking damn it, this shit. I'm sick of it. So, here's the thing. People are stupid.
It's true.
We've established this. So there's this fucking, like, literally a single fucking quote from an interview from, like, 10 fucking years ago. No one's seen that quote. They're all just going off of like, secondhand accounts. So I'm gonna talk about, like, the social phenomenon first, and then the actual fucking quote. Because it's drifted to the point where I literally saw someone say, well, Takeshi Iizuka said that Sonic takes place on Earth and on Mobius.
Oh no.
He said that.
Oh no.
They think. Like, that's how far the drift has gotten.
This telephone game.
Like, 10 years ago, in the year of our Lord, 2010... Takeshi Iizuka said one fucking thing in an interview, and people saw that and acted in the most baddest faith, like the worst faith reaction they could possibly have, for the sake of having something to bitch and moan about, as they love to do.
To be more accurate, he said something in Japanese.
Yeah, that's the whole... So... They reacted to that in the worst faith way possible, and then that got spread, and they told two people, and then those people told two people, and then those people told two people.
Kind of like COVID.
And it just degenerated to this game of telephone across the internet. And now we're at the point where people are taking it as a matter of course. Well, Takeshi Iizuka said it takes place on two worlds.
Mom said it's my turn on the Xbox.
I know, because someone told me, and someone told him, and someone told him, and his uncle worked at Nintendo. So, you know, Sonic Colors came out on the Wii, so that means it's a very viable source. And it's this bizarre, like, combination of the Dunning-Kruger effect and also the Mandela effect, where people are making up false memories that didn't actually happen, and they're convinced that they're experts on it. It's like, and as an example, it's kind of like when people talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! They'll talk about Kaiba summoning a bunch of monsters in one turn. Isn't that against the rules? They'll talk about that like that actually happened in the show.
Hey, you know, what won't Meatloaf do for love? He says it in the fucking song.
Yeah, like...
He gives several
he
examples.
never says what I won't do that. What is it he won't do?
This song's like 10 minutes long and he gives 4 fucking answers.
There is a significant amount of things he won't do.
What the fuck are you... did you not listen to this minute-long pop song? You just kind of thought about the cultural understanding of it, and that's it.
That's the thing. People are taking the memes and then their memories of watching Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series like 10 years ago, because now that's fucking old as shit too. And they probably haven't seen the show since they were children. So the meme of, did you just summon a whole bunch of monsters in one turn, has like replaced reality in their memory. I guarantee you, the first episode is free on YouTube. Watch it. I guarantee you, he summons the Blue Eyes White Dragons on different turns. He does not, in fact, summon a whole bunch of monsters on one turn. He summons one Blue Eyes, several turns pass. He summons another Blue Eyes. Yugi does the Swords of Revealing Light. He summons the third Blue Eyes. It was 3 different turns. I assure you this happened.
I call on the Blue Eyes White Dragon!
No way!
In your entire deck, there's not a single card that can stand up to a Blue Eyes White Dragon. So what hope do you have against 2? Why don't you just admit defeat, Yugi?
A magic card.
Swords of Revealing Light! It stops all monsters on the field for 3 turns.
How desperate. What possible good will a 3-turn delay do you? A sacrifice that doesn't even faze me. And though neither dragon can move for 1 more turn, my next card is the 3rd Blue Eyes White Dragon. Now my dragon, attack!
But people sincerely, like, not even... They watch Yu-Gi-Oh! They consider themselves Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans. They are convinced that this is actually what happened. And they're not even acting in bad faith. They sincerely remember it that way. And, like, that's what's happening. People are stupid. People are hearing someone say, oh, Azuka said it takes place on 2 worlds. It's the truth. And they're going... Oh, well, they wouldn't say that if it wasn't true.
It's the Ricky Gervais movie.
So I'm going to believe them, because why would they lie? Why
What's
would
in
they
it
be
for them?
lying to me?
What is in it for them?
And that person they heard it from probably sincerely believe they don't think they're lying either. It's like, I told this to someone, like, I would call you a liar, like that bitch in the video, she was lying. You're not lying. That implies you're deliberately telling them untruth on
worse.
purpose. You're ignorantly spreading misinformation.
It's way worse.
And so, like, I've been dealing with this for 10 fucking years, and I'm sick of it. Here's the fucking quote that he actually fucking said. It's from an interview about Sonic Colors, literally in the year 2010. So this is 10 years old. It's an interview with fucking a website that doesn't even fucking exist
It's on the
anymore.
Wayback Machine.
I'm using a Wayback Machine page. I have searched for this. This doesn't exist anywhere else on the internet. I have looked high and low for, like, maybe he said it when they were talking about Sonic Lost World or Generations or something. This is the only place this quote fucking exists anywhere on the internet. And maybe that contributes to the proliferation of misinformation, because no one can find this. People in 2010 read it, spread it, and now the secondhand account is all that exists. The echoes in the phone line are all that exists. The interview goes, "Can you tell us a bit about the story behind Sonic Colors? It looks more like the old games, which were set in Mobius, than the new style Sonic set in Station Square." That's also a stupid quote. Azuka's response: "We have 2 different worlds for Sonic games. One is human, and one is set on the non-human side. Sonic Colors is set on the non-human side. The only human in the game is Eggman, tries to build huge amusement park in space, so it's not even in a world, first of all. As we've seen in the New World map, trying to use all these planets, blah, blah, blah." So that's the quote. People saw him say, we have 2 different worlds for Sonic games, and in an effort to invent something new to bitch and moan about for the next 10 years, they proceeded to look at that and interpret it in the worst possible way they reasonably could. They unreasonably could. And they looked at that and sincerely went, oh, he's saying that there's 2 different planetary dimensional locations that are 2 different places within corporeal reality, and Sonic's jumping back and forth between them.
Even the translation does not suggest that.
That's literally what they think he said. They literally think he's saying, like, either here's Earth and here's another planet, Mars, and Sonic is going from Earth, which has humans in Station Square, and he's going to Mars, which has furries and Sally Acorn. Or they're saying, oh, like, it's fucking Metroid Prime 2 and it's 2 different dimensions, and he's traveling from one dimension to a different dimension, and one dimension, Sonic X, there's humans, and then the other Sonic X, there's the plant aliens from space, and Cosmo. How do you get that from this fucking quote? Like, you have to be misinterpreting it on purpose.
The first person definitely was.
Like you mentioned, first of all, fucker is Japanese. I have seen footage of him as recently as 2019. He still can't really speak English.
Most Japanese people cannot.
God bless him, but man, is he rehearsing off a phonetically typed script.
It's like when Miyamoto tries to speak English. It's like, honey, no. I appreciate the effort, but honey, no.
The most English he understands is my first game, and then the titles of video games he's worked on. Because he had that reaction of a, like, 12-year-old kid being like, my first game was Sonic Unleashed.
True.
And Izuka got this look on his face of like, what? So, like, he can't speak English. And he definitely couldn't speak English in 2010. So this interview definitely went through a translator. So, for one thing, I want to know what the translator turned the question into. Like, what was the question that Takeshi Iizuka heard that he was responding to? Because it wasn't what this guy typed.
Someone wrote a question that got translated by a human into Japanese. He gave an answer to that question. The answer was then translated by a human into English, and that's what you're reading.
Exactly. Like, it's like fucking... It's like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's literally lost in translation. Like, there's no word for Mobius in Japanese, so I don't know what he... I'm gonna do another video. I'm turning into a Sonic YouTuber. I'm gonna do a video on Mobius.
Turning into, he says.
I'm gonna do a video on Mobius one of these days about, like, it was never real, it's dead, move on with your fucking life.
Chalk it up to the game and move on with your bitch ass.
It was never real. You loved... It's fucking Blade Runner 2024 or whatever the sequel was called. She was never real. Move on. You were in love with a lie. So, like, first of all, lost in translation. Like, that got translated into Japanese. He responded in Japanese, and then that got translated back into English. So, anytime you see an interview from anyone who's, like, a game developer in Japan, you have to take it with a grain of salt. It's like that interview with Miyazaki in Dark Souls, where he's like, what's the gift? What's the best gift at the beginning of the game? And he's like, well, I always take the pendant. And then people took that to mean, like, oh, the pendant is the best gift. There must be some secret behind the pendant. It's like, no, that's not what he said. Any interview, he's kind of on the spot. Like, this isn't Jimmy Kimmel, where they send him pre-fucking interview questions so he can rehearse an answer.
Where the producer interviews you ahead of time to see what you're going to say.
Like, this is a sincere interview. He wasn't prepared for what the question was going to be. So he was literally thinking of an answer off the top of his head, and that's always a reliable answer.
Interviews are bullshit.
Second of all, it had to go through like 3 different layers of translation in order to get back to the interviewer.
From whoever they happen to hire to interpret.
So I take this with just a U portion amount of salt. An amount of salt that you would have on anything that you eat. That's how much salt.
That's a really personal fucking blast, my guy.
For those who don't know, that is an extremely large amount of salt.
See how that had to get translated?
There's a lot of... I take so much salt with any answer
Yeah.
in any interview, period, but also from people in Japan, because who knows what he actually meant.
And it's being translated by a dude. He could have sucked at translating.
Yeah, there's this story about like the reason Resident Evil 4 never released on the Xbox, the original Xbox, is because that happened. Like, Capcom and Microsoft like had a meeting, and they're like, why should we put Resident Evil 4 on the Xbox? And instead of translating the fucking question, the translator answered it.
Right.
So, like, Microsoft came in, two people spoke Japanese at each other, and then the Capcom reps got pissed off and left. And Microsoft was like, what happened?
What did we do?
Like, so...
People can be shitty at interpreting.
Oh, yeah, and lest we forget, it's better than nothing.
And that's what I was thinking of.
Lest we forget. Fucking, like, look, I will be the first person to give Keiji Inafune a hard time, but he didn't say it's better than nothing.
he did
That was
not
the
say
translator.
that. Yeah.
He clarified that later. And yet, it still goes down in history. Like, he's fucked forever now.
And even if he had said that, again, just like anything varies in quality, interpreters and translators vary in quality. It's not objective. If it were objective, you could just put it into Google Translate.
There's a spectrum of interpretation.
There's an art to making one language into another language. It's not just a set of rules. Again, if that were true, you could just take a dictionary and fucking do it.
So I don't believe for a second that this is what he said.
I don't believe this is the question he answered.
I don't believe this is the question he answered, and I don't believe this is the answer he gave.
Yeah.
But even if we were to take it completely at face value, this still doesn't mean what people are saying it means.
Even the translate, that English paragraph right there does not say that.
He says, even literally just take it completely at face value. Don't look at it with any kind of nuanced view of language and culture. Take completely, these are the words we have. Worlds doesn't mean planets or dimensions.
No thinking person would read him specifically say non-human side. If he's
Exactly.
talking about a world, what does side refer to?
That's the part that kills me.
A planet, I mean.
He literally says one is human and then the other is a non-human, the non-human side.
Yeah, like right away, it's like, that's not what he's talking about, obviously. You have to be misinterpreting it
The
on purpose.
context of the fucking thing he's saying is clearly, like, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, people from New York and people from Los Angeles are living in two different worlds.
Yeah.
Like, it's figurative.
Yeah. It's not newspeak.
And I mean, even more than that, there's an interview of him talking about Sonic Lost World where he's talking about the levels and they're referring to the levels as worlds.
Yeah.
And like, look at the Mario games. World
World
1-1, World 1-2, World 2-1.
Are they all different planets?
Do you think he's going to different planets? Is this Mario Galaxy 0.1? Like, he's saying world could mean fucking anything. Reasonable, like, non-asshole way to interpret this is him clearly saying there's a part of the world where humans live, and then there's a part of the world where the humans don't live there. And nothing we have seen in the games has ever contradicted that. There's a place in Station Square, humans live there, and Amy's walking around, and no one fucking cares. Just like when you go to the fucking deli and, oh, there's a raccoon, it's fucking around in the trash cans. No one cares, really. You see animals. And in the world of Sonic, some animals are pink and walk around on two legs and wear dresses. Some of them are flickies and cockies and turtles.
And dickies.
Some of them are giant eagles, although maybe that was an alternate universe, it's hard to say.
Maybe that was Eagle Land.
It's hard to say. Like, the world of Sonic is weird. Even in the most mundane, close to reality, like, Station Square, like, this is the human world, There's still casinos with fucking pinball machines in them
That you could...
that you jump
Be
into, and giant sewers and loop-de-loop highways and roads that like veer up into the wall of a building. And Chow.
Whatever they are.
Like, the world of Sonic is weird. It's not hard at all to think, like, okay, I talk about this a little bit in my video on Sonic Forces. It's not hard to think at all that maybe there's parts of the world where humans live there, and maybe animals can go chill out just like they fucking do in real life.
Zootopia style.
Animals come to... There's cats there's feral cats just all over the fucking place. Rats everywhere.
A groundhog keeps visiting this.
A groundhog is chilling in our backyard as we speak. We don't care. Like, we're not gonna stop them.
It's a groundhog.
Coyote's taking the bus. What are you gonna do? Kick him off? Like, leave him alone. He's fine.
He has a ticket.
Like, Sonic's running around fucking with Theodore Roosevelt. It's fine. And, like, humans don't go move in with animals. Maybe one weirdo goes and, like, fucks with bears, but then he dies.
Yeah, and then they make a crappy movie about it.
It's a really bad movie. But, like, that doesn't really happen, so it's not unreasonable to not see humans where the wild things go. If the interpretation we're supposed to have is Sonic goes from the human world with Chris Thorndike and Station Square and the president who has a picture of Sonic on his desk, and then he goes from that world... which, in the least charitable way we can possibly think of it, as a different planetary or dimensional realm of existence, and went to a different planetary body or dimension of existence, where Chris Thorndike does not exist, but Eggman does somehow. We would have seen that. Why wouldn't they show that in a game? Why wouldn't they show Sonic going from one world to another world?
Sonic World.
We've seen characters travel between dimensions before. Blaze travels from her soul dimension to Sonic's dimension, and Sonic has traveled from his dimension to Blaze's dimension. We've seen that happen on screen. It happened right before our fucking eyes. In Sonic and the Black Knight, Sonic is pulled from his dimension to the storybook to the storybook world, and we saw it happen. He went through a fucking portal. In fucking Sonic Forces, we saw classic Sonic jump through a portal from the Mania dimension. And then at the end, he disappears, and because he made out with his mom, and he, like, Back to the Future vanishes out of existence, and goes back to his home planet. If that was the interpretation, we would have seen it. It's not like they're shy about showing that. It's like, if that was the way it is, why wouldn't we have seen that? We've seen other examples of planetary or dimensional travel in Sonic games. This is the one we're supposed to assume takes place. If you haven't seen a human on frame, then that means it takes place in the world without humans. So off screen before that game, Sonic jumped to a fucking portal or got on a rocket ship and went to that location, compared to the other place he is, which has wisps in it. Like, it's so asinine. And another problem, I think, is not just that, like, it's this game of telephone, but it's other, like, adaptations of Sonic media, because that's the whole thing of Sonic X.
Gotta go fast.
Sonic X is the first episode. They're in Sonic's world, and a plot hole just sucks them through, and they go to Chris Thorndike's dimension. Which still doesn't make any fucking sense, because Gerald Robotnik and Shadow exist in that dimension, And it really is completely nonsensical. That fucking show sucks. But, like, there's several episodes devoted to, like, oh, they're, like, getting kidnapped by the military and experimented on because they're fucking interdimensional and interlopers. And the Flickies and the Cockies show up, and they're new, too. And it's like, what's up with that? And the whole thing with the Chow. And people watch Sonic X, and I feel so bad for them. I feel bad for myself.
That was all we had for a little bit.
God damn it. It's not good. I don't like it. Season 3 is the worst one. So people watch that and they go like, oh, that's canon. That's what happened
When it's really
in the
not.
game. Even though I didn't see no Chris Thorndike. I didn't see no Chris Thorndike. I played Sonic Adventure 2 several times. I didn't see Chris Thorndike once.
In the credits.
And then the movie doesn't help, because the movie also, for some reason, no one can accept this. Everyone wants to do a fish out of water Beastmasters 2, like Suburban Commando.
Yeah, why?
The weird alien character came to normal ass Earth.
Why?
No one can accept, like, the world in Sonic is weird. Station Square is a weird place. San Francisco.
Kinda.
There's a Pumpkin Hill. There's a fucking place called Pumpkin Hill in the human world of Sonic Adventure 2. And you're gonna sit there and tell me that this is supposed to be real life. This isn't. It's a bizarre world of chemical plants and mystic ruins and
Pinball. And the cat using her scratching post.
and giant pinball machines and forests that have casinos just spontaneously occurring. It's a weird fucking place. He's clearly saying there's two sides of this world. He literally says the non-human side.
Yeah.
One side is more mundane and more palatable for people to live. And the other side is fucking weird Sega Genesis bullshit. And Mobius doesn't exist. That was never a thing. I swear to God. It's like, imagine if people watched the fucking Excuse Me, Princess Legend of Zelda cartoon and to this day insist that it should be canon.
Try to correct actual Zelda fans to say, like, no, actually.
No, he's not a Hylian. He's Excuse Me, Princess.
Oh,
no,
boy,
there's only
snuggle time.
There's only two Triforces, and they can talk.
There's one
and they aren't
ring
shaped like triangles.
at the bottom of the lake.
There's one world. And
Sonic World.
It's Sonic's world, and we're all living in it. That's the other thing. Eggman has been in the game since day one.
Yeah.
What did you think he was? And
He's
then
Teddy Roosevelt.
In the original concept for Sonic, he was supposed to have a human girlfriend named Madonna. Damn. It's really bad, and I'm glad it didn't happen.
Oh yeah, I remember.
But he was originally gonna have a female human, a human girlfriend named Madonna.
Oh,
Eggman's been there since day one.
That would have aged real good.
Sonic Adventure, like a fucking defining crux of that plot, is the Echidna Empire, and Angel Island was originally connected to the Echidna Empire. So how would, like, the Genesis games, if they're not supposed to take place in the same dimension as Sonic Adventure, how's Angel Island connected to the Mystic Ruins? And then fucking Joe Robotnik created a hedgehog. If Sonic's from another world, did no one think the hedgehog, the talking fucking black hedgehog walking around the space station, did no one think that was weird? Like,
drinking black coffee
from day
straight
one
from the machine.
It's I'm gonna channel it. It's been there from the first game, and everyone has noticed it.
It's been there since the first game, right in front of our eyes, and nobody has noticed it.
And then this one fucking interview happens in 2010 that everyone deliberately misinterprets and, like, spreads around in a game of telephone, and all of a sudden this gets treated like, oh, he retconned it. so that it took place in 2 different worlds. He never said that.
Game of
And
Phones, A Song of Lice and Pliers.
that was it. That's what I was going to talk about. Don't take fucking Ian Flynn and Tyson Hesse saying shit on Twitter as some kind of confirmation either, okay? Because fucking Ian Flynn is like, oh yeah, 2 worlds. And it's like, do you speak Japanese, Ian Flynn?
You don't work. No, you don't say things like that.
Do you have a Sega employee badge?
It's like me tweeting, the United States' position on Japan's I don't have the authority to say those things.
It's like fucking Little Karibo says it as a joke. He's like, I said it, now it's canon. I wrapped it seamlessly back around to Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series. If I confirm that Thief shipping is canon, then that means I can use this card. Look at them, they're holding hands. It's canon. And people treat that like it's real.
With the only condition being that I canonize thief shipping. So, it's canon now. Look at them trying to hold hands.
Like, no, it was a joke. Ian Flynn is not the fucking arbiter of what's canon in Sonic. Oh, Tyson Hesse said Sega told him that there's no money. First of all, no, he didn't. He said they told him you're not allowed to use money in your animation. That's not the same thing.
Not the same thing, my guy.
That's not the same thing. If anyone has ever told you, oh, this is canon because Ian Flynn or Tyson Hesse or Takeshi Iizuka said it in an interview, they're probably an idiot who heard someone else say it, and there's no source, and also that's not what they said.
Even if that is what they said, interviews are bullshit. They're on the spot.
It's like an onion. There's so many layers.
Yeah.
First of all, you didn't hear that. You heard it secondhand from a guy who heard it secondhand, and the first guy who heard it is misinterpreting the thing that they said, and that's not what they said. And even if it is what they said,
It's probably
which
not
it
what they
isn't,
said, yeah.
it's not what they meant because
Exactly.
they had to say it on the spot in an interview that got translated between 3 different fucking languages.
Yes.
So in conclusion, the point is there's no human world in Mobius.
There's no Chris Thorndike.
There's no human world, there's no Mobius. It's Sonic's world, which has been referred to in the script as Earth at least a couple times. And that's it. It all takes place there. It's one dimension, and also money clearly exists and is used. Tyson Hesse just isn't allowed to use money in his animations because they don't want to risk him going on a psychotic communist rant about the concept of fiat currency not making sense. Oh, and Ian Flynn's full of shit. Anyway, there's no 2 worlds. Everyone shut up and fuck off.